Hello students, welcome to discussion of quantitative aptitude section of IBPS RRB PO, that is Officer Scale 1 main examination. The mock test reference number MT2042011. Let us start discussing this particular paper. Before that, we'll look at the strategy. So what are the types of questions given and what should be the ideal score, what is the ideal time to be spent. These things will have a very quick understanding of these things, then we'll start discussing the questions. So as you can see, there is no section wise time limit for Officer Scale 1 main examination. The ideal time to be spent on this particular section, that is quantitative aptitude section, is 30 to 35 minutes. Anything less than this, I am saying, it will be little, what you call, you will be little trouble, because generally quantitative aptitude involves calculations and numbers. So it is advisable that you spend 30 to 35 minutes on this particular section out of the total time given or total time allotted. Now when you look at this particular paper, in this paper you can see there are individual questions, there are data comparison questions, and we also have data interpretation. Now order to be followed is, if you look at this particular paper, individual questions, there are 15 questions, start with this. Then we can look at solving data comparison, there are 4 questions, and we have data interpretation, remaining questions. Tabular data, missing data, 5 questions. Line graph plus table combination, 5 questions. Pie chart plus table combination, 5 questions. Caselet, 5 questions. That means total from data interpretation you have 21 questions, right? So this is the order to be followed: individual questions, data comparison questions, and you solve data interpretation. Within data interpretation also we'll discuss what is the order you should look at. Now out of these individual questions, 15 questions, you can, if you look at these 15 questions, you can say that about 7 to 8 questions are easy and doable. I'm not saying other questions are not doable, but I'm saying if you look at easy questions out of 15, I'm saying 50% of individual questions are easy. So easily you can score 7 to 8 marks from this. Then 4 questions in data comparison, maybe out of these 4 questions we can say 3 questions are easy. Now, when you come to your data interpretation, total we have 21 questions, 4 sets. As we tell you every time, the last thing to attempt in data interpretation is caselet. Because caselet involves a raw form of data given. You have to capture the data, put the data in the form of a table or Venn diagram, then you need to solve the questions. Caselet questions are generally time consuming. Or if you make a small mistake in maybe in one place, then entire data might go wrong. That is why caselet should be checked or should be attempted towards the end. That means you have attempted the rest of the questions, still you have time left with you, then you can look at attempting caselet. Now if you look at this data interpretation particular, this particular paper, I am saying the data, missing data question, there were 5 questions. I am saying that this is moderate and calculation based. So there are some intense calculation based questions, missing the table data. So it is, we can classify this as moderate, but I am saying line graph and table is easy. Pie chart and table questions are also easy. If you look at, if you have practiced maybe these kind of questions, maybe in your classroom, maybe your online classroom discussion, or in your study material booklet or your sectional test, if you have come across these kind of caselets, I can say if you pay little attention, I can say this particular caselet is also easy compared to a table. Table, I'm not saying it is difficult, but I'm saying more of calculations involved, so I can classify it as moderate. Right, students? Now, out of these 21 questions, I am saying you can easily score another, I can say easily you can score another 12 to 14 questions can be classified as easy questions. So, if you look at minimum 15 plus 7, 22 to 25, I can say are easy. That means more than 50% of the questions, total 40. So I can say 22, 25 is more than 50% of the questions are easy. So what is our target is, while solving this particular paper, you are not supposed to miss these easy questions in the paper. right? But these are not given at one place. Some of them are there, and some of them are distributed in individual questions. Some of them are present in data comparison. Rest of them are given in your data interpretation. So the whole idea is you have to identify these 22 to 25 easy questions. If you can solve them, I am saying that is decent enough score for this particular paper, right? Let us start discussing this particular paper. Question numbers 1 to 4, directions. Directions for question number 1 to 4. Each of the following questions contains two quantities, quantity 1 and quantity 2. Compare the two quantities and mark an appropriate option. Mark option 1 if quantity 1 more than quantity 2. Option 2 if quantity 1 is less than quantity 2. Option 3 if quantity 1 is greater than or equal to quantity 2. Option 4 if quantity 1 less than or equal to quantity 2. Option 5 if both the quantities are equal, or if you are not able to establish any relationship between these quantities, then we need to take up option 5. Now, these questions can be classified as data comparison questions, or you can also call them as quantitative comparison questions, right? So basically, two quantities will be given. You have to establish a relationship between these quantities. Let us take up question number 1. Now, question number 1, Shekhar spent 16.2/3% of his monthly salary towards rent. 16.2/3% is nothing but 1/6. Out of the remaining, he spent 20% towards education and 15% towards repaying a loan. He is saving the remaining amount of 13,000. So, this 13,000 are the savings of this particular person. Now, quantity 1, this is Shekhar, this is A, this is E. Shekhar's expenditure towards education. We need to find out this person's expenditure towards education. What is my quantity 2? 6,000. Quantity 2, nothing to simplify. We have 6,000. We have to simplify and find out this value, and we need to establish the relation between quantity 1 and quantity 2. Now you can see here, he is spending 1/6 of his salary towards rent. Let us say his salary is X rupees. He is spending 1/6 of the salary towards rent. So how much is remaining salary? Remaining salary is 5/6x. Right? So 1/6 is spending towards rent. Out of the remaining, how much is remaining? 5/6x. He is spending 20% towards education, 15% towards repaying a loan. Now if you add these 20 plus 15, he is spending 35%. 20% plus 15%, he is spending 35% towards education and repaying the loan. That means how much is his savings? Out of this he has spent 35%. Total should be always 100%. So what are his savings? His savings should be 65% of the remaining salary, that is 5/6 of X. This is given as 13,000. You got my point, students? Here he is spending 35% towards education and repaying loan. That means how much are his savings? Because we have got savings given here, right? So how much are his savings? Total 35% out of the remaining is spending. Remaining is 65% of the salary, right? 5 13s, 5 20s. Now 13 goes 1,000 times, right? Now see here, I am not getting to finding out X value. How much is 5/6x? 20 into 1,000, 20,000. 5/6x is nothing but my remaining salary, that is my 20,000. Now what is your quantity 1? Shekhar's expenditure towards education. Out of the remaining salary, I am not finding out total salary, not required. I have to find out expenditure towards education. Out of the remaining salary, that is 20,000, he is spending 20% towards education. Towards education he is spending 20%. 20,000, 10% is 2,000, 20% is 4,000. So my quantity 1 is 4,000. My quantity 2 is 6,000. So friends, clearly we can say quantity 1 is less than quantity 2. Quantity 1 is less than quantity 2 is present in second option. Question number 2, students. A boat traveled 60 kilometers downstream in 3 hours. Okay. Time taken by the boat to travel 56 kilometers upstream is 2 hours more than time taken to travel 100 kilometers downstream distance. Okay, what is my question? Total time taken by the boat, that's my quantity 1. Total time taken by the boat to travel 80 kilometers upstream and 40 kilometers downstream, and quantity 2 is 12 hours. So only we need to simplify quantity 1. Now if you take speed of the boat as B and speed of water as W or stream as W, What is my downstream speed? Downstream speed is equal to B plus W, right? What should be my upstream speed? Upstream speed should be B minus W, right? Now, you look at the first part of the question. A boat traveled 60 kilometers downstream in 3 hours. So, downstream speed is B plus W. What is speed formula? Speed is equal to distance by time. He is going 60 kilometers downstream in 3 hours, distance by time. So, B plus W is 20. Now, look at second part of the given information. Time taken by the boat to travel 56 kilometers upstream is 2 hours more than time taken to travel 100 kilometers downstream. What is the time taken to travel downstream? Time is equal to distance by speed, right? So, distance is 100 kilometers. Downstream means I have to write downstream speed 20. So, how many hours it has taken? 5 hours. Now, what is the time taken to travel upstream here? It is 2 hours more. Now, what is speed of upstream? Upstream speed is equal to, speed is distance by time. He is going upstream 56 kilometers. In how many hours? He is taking 2 hours more than the time taken here. What is the time taken for 100 kilometers? 5 hours. So, it is taking 2 hours more. 5 plus 2, it is 7 hours. So, it is 8 kilometers per hour. So, B minus W is 8. Now, what is my quantity 1? Total time taken to travel 80 kilometers upstream. So, time taken for upstream, time is equal to distance by speed. So, 80 by upstream distance, so upstream speed. So, it is 10 hours. Then time taken for downstream. So, here is traveling 40 kilometers downstream. So, distance 40, downstream speed is 20. So, it is taking 2 hours. So, what is the total time taken? 10 plus 2, total time taken is 12 hours. Quantity 2 is 12 hours. We can say quantity 1 is equal to quantity 2 and we will say option 5. Question number 3, students. In a group, there are 4 men, 3 women and 3 children. This is the given information. There are 4 men, 3 women, 3 children. Quantity 1. Number of ways of arranging 4 men and 3 women such that no 2 men sit together. So, no 2 men should sit together. We have 4 men and 3 women. So, what you need to do is you have to arrange the women first, W1, women 2, women 3. So, 3 women can be arranged in 3 factorial ways and 1, 2, 3, 4 places. 4 men can be arranged in 4 places in 4 factorial ways. So, this is 3 factorial into 4 factorial, right? So, what is my quantity 2? My quantity 2 is number of ways of arranging 3 women and 3 children such that 3 children sit together. Let us take all 3 children as 1 unit. All 3 children as 1 unit. So, 3 women plus all 3 children I am taking as 1 unit. All these people can be arranged in total 4 units can be arranged in 4 factorial ways and these 3 women within themselves they can be arranged in 3 factorial ways. So, 4 factorial into 3 factorial. For the first one we have got 3 factorial into 4 factorial. I am saying both are same. Quantity 1 is equal to quantity 2, option 5. Question number 4, students. Given that area of a rectangle is 294 square centimeters and its perimeter is 70 centimeters. Quantity 1, area of a circle which can be placed inside the rectangle. Quantity 2, 154 square centimeters. Now, see students, let us look at the given information in the question. Area of a rectangle is 294 centimeters. That means L into B is 294 and perimeter of the rectangle is 70 centimeters. 2 into L plus B, that is the perimeter of the rectangle is 70. From this I can say L plus B is equal to 35. Now, see here students, L into B 294, L plus B 35. Now don't write that what you call equation L minus B whole square is equal to L plus B whole square plus what you call minus 4LB and all those things. Without doing all those, just look at these numbers. Product of these two numbers is 294, sum of these two numbers is 35. Which two numbers are these? I can say 21 and 14. How much is 21 into 14? 280 plus 14, 294. How much is 21 plus 14? 35. You should be good at your multiplication tables. You should be comfortable. You should be thorough with your numbers. Then you can answer this question easily. Otherwise, you have to write L minus B whole square is equal to L plus B whole square minus 4LB. Substitute here, you will get L minus B. Then solve L plus B, L minus B. All these things are not required. If you observe closely, L into B 294, L plus B 35. 21 and 14 are my numbers. So the larger number should be my length. So students, length is equal to 21 and breadth is equal to 14. L plus B is 35, L into B is 294. Now what is the question? Area of a circle which can be placed inside the rectangle. You have to be very, very careful. He's not saying inscribed, which can be placed inside the circle. Now observe these students. So this is my length and this is my breadth. This is 14. This is my length is given as 21. Now, if you place a circle here, what is the maximum area you can get? Just here, I will place the circle here. I will inscribe in this rectangle. Right. If I join this, this is equal to the breadth of the rectangle. That is 14 centimeter. This is nothing but diameter of the circle. So, what is my radius? Half of diameter. That is 7. So, what should be my area of circle? Area of circle is equal to pi 22 by 7 into r square, 7 into 7. So I am getting 154 square centimeters. And students, this is the maximum area I can get. Right? I am placing, see, I am not inscribed in circle. He is saying that he can, what is the area of a circle which can be placed inside the rectangle. So this is the maximum diameter, this is the maximum area we are going to get. If I inscribe like this, so diameter is equal to 14. Now, apart from that, see here, you can put a circle like this, like this, like this. You will get all small circles, right? So what happens? Radius will be maximum of 7, or I can say less than or equal to 7 centimeters. When I am taking 7, I am getting 154. I am taking less than 7, my area should be less than 154. So here, the value I am going to get for area is less than or equal to 154 square centimeters. So here, I am getting less than or equal to 154. I will get either 154 or less than 154. So what do we have? Quantity to 154. If it is 154, 154, both are equal. If it is less than 154, quantity 1 will be less than quantity 2. So quantity 1 less than or equal to quantity 2. Quantity 1 less than or equal to quantity 2 is present in your option 4. Right? Directions for question number 5 to 10. Study the following table carefully to answer the questions that follow. Okay. This is your missing data table. We have discussed at the beginning. It is slightly moderate and calculation based, but just look at the given data. Table shows number of boys and girls in 10th class of 3 sections, A, B and C of our schools, PQ of 4 schools. It should be F here, of 4 schools, right? So PQRS. So PQRS, section A, section B, section C. Each section we have information of boys and girls. Somewhere we have dash here. Dash indicates that the data is not given or data is missing there, right? Note, each question is independent of the other. Okay. Second, a few values are missing in the table, which are indicated by these dashes. These are missing values. Find the values for respective questions. So depending on the data given in the question, you can find out, if you require, you have to find out these values, then you have to solve the questions. Now, each question is independent of the other. What does this mean? Each question is independent of the other. Let's see, in the first question, you have found out boys value of section C. Let's see, you know this value. In the second question, again, there is a question about section C. You cannot use this value in your question number 2, the value which you have found out in question number 1. So each question is independently, that means each question is separate. So depending on the data given in the question, you need to find out again the value. So the value which you are getting in one question for one of these missing values, it may be same, may not be same. You cannot use the same value for the remaining question. That is what you mean by each question is independent of the other question. Right, students? So let us take up question number 5. The total number of boys in section C of all the schools together is 240. Total number of boys is 240. Okay. In P, ratio of number of boys in A and that of C is 15:13. The number of students in A of P is what percentage more than that in C of same school P. Right. Now, in C, section C, all schools together. That means if you add all these values, it should be 240. Right. So add this 132. Then 138, 188 if you add all these. So 240 minus 188, it should be 52. So I can find out this value is 52. So what I mean by 52 is C. The point is each question is independent. This value is 52 in this question. When we move to question number 6, you cannot take this as 52. You cannot carry forward this 52 and say that boys in section C of school P is 52. No, 52 is only for this particular question. Right. P. If the ratio of number of boys in A to that of C is 15:13. Now boys in A is to C in school P is 15:13. We know number of boys in section C, it is 52. So 13 parts, 52. Right? 15 parts, how much? Now we can see here 13 is 52 means 13 fours are, so 15 fours are, it has to be 60. So we know that this value is 60. Now what is the question? Number of students in A of school P. How many students in section A of school P? We have 60 plus 60. Total students means boys plus girls, it is 120. Is what percentage more than that in section C of the same school P? Section C, if you add total number of students, is 100. So total number of students in section C are 100. Total number of students in section A are 120. Clearly we can say it is 20% more. So option 2. Question number 6. Right, again it's a fresh question. You cannot take the values which are obtained in question number 5. You cannot carry forward for question number 6. That is what you mean by independent of, each question is independent of the other. Now question number 6, students. The difference between number of girls in section A of schools Q and S is equal to difference between number of girls of school Q in A and B. That means in sections A and B. Okay. If the total number of girls in class A of all schools together, okay, is 220, okay, then number of girls in section A of school R. That's what I'm trying to say. It is slightly confusing and slightly calculation based. Just here, difference between number of girls in section A of school Q and school S. Now school S is 40. If you look at section A, school Q, we don't know number of girls. Let us take them as K. So K minus 40 is equal to this difference between these two is equal to difference between section number of girls in section A and section B of school Q. School Q, section A, section B, number of girls are 64 and K. So difference is 64 minus. So from this we'll get 2K is equal to 104, or I can say K is equal to 52. So K is equal to 52. So number of girls here are 52. Now see here students, if the total number of girls in, it's not class A, it is section A, total number of girls in section A of all schools together is 220. So this value, it is 220. Section A of all schools PQRS is 220. Now if you add 100 plus 52, 152. So total number of girls should be 68 in R. Total number of girls are 220 is saying. So 220 minus, you add this 60, 50, 112 plus 42. So it is how much? 152. If you remove 152 here, 48 plus 20 will get 68, the remaining value. This value is 68. What is the question? Number of girls in A of school R. School R, number of girls in A are 68. 68 is present in choice 4. Question number 7, students. Considering all the sections together, A, B, C, the average number of boys in S is 60. Average number of boys in school S is 60. Now, here, students, average number of boys, you don't calculate boys here 54, boys I don't know here, plus boys here 60 by 3 is equal to, let's say 54, plus school B we don't know B, plus 60 by 3 is equal to 60. I am saying let us not get into all those calculations. We can find out average easily. Yes, here students, you can use that formula, or we can find out average easily. Now, average is 60. Average number of boys in school S is 60, means each section should be 60. Here 60, 60 exactly balanced. Is here. How many are here? 54. Now if I want to maintain my average as 60, the number of boys here should be 66. Because you see here how much is deficient here. He is saying average is 60. So I am taking each section should be 60, 60, 60. Section C in school S is 60. Section E is 54. Average should be 60 means there should be 6 more here. So section B, we don't have the value. So section B should be, if I want to maintain average of 60, so it should be 60 plus we are having 6 less here. It has to cover that 6 deficiency also. So it should be 66. Or you write 54 plus B plus 60 by 3 is 60. Simplify, you'll get the answer. I am saying 60, average 60 matched. 54 means it is 6 less. So whatever value value that is pending here, if I want to maintain my average as 60, it should be 60 plus it has to cover this deficiency. So orally we can say it is 66. Now the number of girls of section A in R, number of girls of section A in R, okay, is equal to number of boys of section B in S. Number of boys in section B in S, this is S, this is section B, number of boys is 66. This is equal to number of girls in section A in R. Section A, this is section A, R, number of girls, these two are equal. So this should be 66. Right? Then find the total number of girls in all sections together of R. If you have total number of girls in R, all three sections, 66 plus 50 plus 65. So 66 plus 50 is 116 plus 65, 181. 181 is present in choice 3. Question number 8. Considering the schools Q, R, S together, the total number of girls in B is equal to that in C. If the total number of girls in all the sections in school S is 157, then find the ratio of number of girls in B to that of C in school S. Right, in school S, we need to find out girls ratio in section B, GB, girls ratio is to GC, girls in section C, in particularly in school S, we need to find out. Now see here, the total number of girls in B is equal to that in C. Considering Q, R and S together, these three schools together, section B, section C, total number of girls are equal. Now here, we are taking number of girls as GB here, so total will be 114 plus girls in section B. This must be equal to in section C, 70 plus 65, 135 plus girls in section C. We don't know this value, right? We are taking as GB, girls in section B, GC, girls in section C. You can take XY also. So, considering only these three schools, the girls in section B is equal to girls in section C. So, add this 114 plus GB is equal to 135 plus GC. GB minus GC is equal to 135 minus 114. It is 21. Let's say it's my first equation. Now, what is my second equation here? What is the given information? Total number of girls in all sections of school S is 157. In school S, what are total number of girls? 40, GB and GC. Now, if you add 40 plus girls in section B, we don't know, girls in section C is equal to 157. Girls in section B plus girls in section C is 117, 157 minus 40. So, GB plus GC is 157. This is my second equation. Now solve this, add these to 2 GB, this will get cancelled, is 178. It is not 157, it is 117, sorry. So it is GB plus 40 plus GB plus GC. Girls means 40 plus GB plus GC is 157. Subtract this 40, GB plus GC is 117, right? So 117 plus 21, 138. So girls in section B is 69. Substitute here. Girls in section C is 69 minus 21, it is 48. So ratio of girls in section B is to section C, 69 is to 48. 3 23s, 3 16s. So the ratio is 23 is to 16, present in option 5. Question number 9, students. In school P, the strength of each section is equal. Then find the ratio of total number of boys to the total number of girls in all sections together of the same school. Alright, in school P, each section the total strength is equal. Now see here, section B we have boys and girls together, it is 90. So in all sections total is same. If you can see section A, girls are 60 means total should be 90, boys should be 30. Similarly, if you take section C, total in each section is same. So total should be 90, right? 45 plus 45. In all sections it should be 90 only. So if it is 48, 90 minus 48, it is 42. Now, in the same school, we need to find out ratio of boys to that of girls. If you see here, boys 30 plus 45, 75 plus 42, 117 is to total number of girls, 60 plus 45. How much? 105. 105 plus 48, 153. Right, students? Now, if you see here, 9 13s, 9 17s. 13 is to 17 should be your ratio. That is my first option. Question number 10, the last question of this particular set. In school Q, the total number of boys in section A and section C is equal to total number of girls in the same sections. So total number of boys in A and C. What is the total number of boys in A and C? 80 in school Q. In section A is 80, section C is 56. 80 plus 56 is 136. It is equal to total number of girls in the same sections. If you look at girls in the same section, 70 here, total should be 136 boys. So girls should be 136. If you remove 70, this should be 66. Right? Then total number of girls in P is what percentage of that in Q. Now girls in P is 60 plus 45, 105 plus 48, 153 is what percentage of girls in Q. Add all girls in Q, 66, 64. How much? 130 plus 70, 200. Percentage means into 100. So 2 zeros will get cancelled. So it is 153 half, around 70. Its answer should be in 70s. So it should be 76.5. If you observe here, 150 half is 75. 153 means it should be more than that. So 76.5 percentage without simplifying. Right, students? So option 5 is your answer. Question numbers 11 to 15. Select the correct alternative from the given choices. So these are individual questions. Look at question number 11. The 11th question is based on time and work. Here, we can say this question is moderate level of difficulty for your understanding. I told you there are about 7 to 8 easy questions. If you have practiced, this is easy, but I am saying because of more calculations. Main exam generally, it is a what you call combination or applications of concepts. So it is slightly more. We can classify this as moderate. Efficiency of B is 20% less than that of A and 60% more than that of C. Right? Now, A, B, C. Let me write down efficiency. Let us say C's efficiency is 100 units. B is talking about efficiency of B, 20% less than A and 60% more than C. So, relation between B and C is B's efficiency 60% more than C. So, B's efficiency is 160. Now, here students, the relation between A and B. B is 20% less than A. B is 20% less than A. A should be 25% more than B. This is a standard percentage thing which we already discussed, right? A is 20% less than B. B will be 25% more than A. So A should be 25% more than B. Right? So 25% is 1/4. 1/4 of 160 is 40. So it is 40 more. Efficiency 40 more means it should be 200. Now don't get into this saying that A here, B here, B is 20% less, A 100, B 80. So the ratio is 5:4. So 4 parts 160, then 5 parts how much? Don't do all this. That is not required, right? So B is 20% less than A. That means students, A should be 25%. That's a standard result, right? A should be 25% more than B. 25% means 1/4. 1/4 of 160 means 40 more. So A's efficiency is 200. So what are the ratio of their efficiencies? If you see here, if you take the ratio here, 2 tens to 16 means 8 times. This is 5 times. So efficiency of A is to B is to C is 10 is to 8 is to 5. Now what is the question? A and B started the work. After 10 days, A left. So A plus B have worked for 10 days. A plus B in 10 days, how many units they would have completed? A and B together will do 10 plus 8, 18 units. For 10 days means they have completed 180 units. Right? Then A left, C joined. That means who are working now? B and C are working together. Now B plus C are working for how many days? The remaining work was completed by B and C together in 6 days. So B and C are working for 6 days, the work is completed. B plus C in 6 days, B and C 13 units in 1 day, 6 days means 13 into 6, 78 units they will do. So work is completed. So total work is 258. If you add this 258 units, this should be my total work. Now what is the question? Find the number of days that A and C together take to complete the work, working on alternate days. This is important. They are working on alternate days. So how much is my total work? Total work is 258 units, right? So if A and C are working on alternate days, what do you mean by alternate days? First day A, second day C, third day A, fourth day C, A, C, so on. We'll consider these two people as one time period. Here or one cycle or one round. It depends on what you say the terminology. There is no difference, right? So one time period will be A working for 1 day, B working for 1 day, 2 days. So A plus C in one time period, how many units they are completing? 10 plus 5, 15 units. So total work is how many units? 258 units. So 258 by 15. 15 goes maximum how many times? 15 ones are 15, 108, 15 sevens are 105. Maximum how many time periods? 17 time periods. Right? 17 time periods is nothing but 17 into 2. It will be how many days? 34 days. So 17 time periods, how many units are completed? They are doing 13 units in 17 time periods, means 13 into 17, 221. Right? 221. What's the remaining work? Remaining work is how much? 258 minus 221, 30. How many units? 37 units. Now, who has to do this? 17 times only? Sorry, my mistake. 1 second. It should be 15 into 17, right? They are working for 17 time periods. So, 1 second, students. It should be 15 into 17, because in per day A and C are doing 10 plus 5, 15 units, right? So 15 into 17 means 255 units they are doing. So what's the remaining work? 3 units. Who has to do this remaining work? After one time period, who will come? A. After 2 time periods, A. After 3 time periods, A. After 4 time periods, A. After n time periods also, the person who is starting the work will come to work. So 34 days are completed. Still how much work is left over? 3 units. So A will come to work. A can do in how many units per day? 10 units. Only 3 units left over. So he will complete in less than 1 day. So 3 by 10 days. So 34, 3 by 10 is present in first option. So question number 12, students. A started a business with an investment of 30,000, and after 4 months B joined with an investment of 36,000 and A withdrew 6,000. That means for the first 4 months A was there. He is investing 30,000 for 4 months. After 4 months B is joining the business with an investment of 36,000. After 4 months A is withdrawing 6,000. So from 30,000 he is removing 6,000 and withdrawing 6,000. So how much amount is left? 24,000. After 4 more months, that means 4 months are over, another 4 months, that means after 8 months, C joined with an investment of 42,000 and B withdrew. That means this 36,000 B is putting in the business for 4 months. After 4 months, he is again withdrawing 6,000 from that. That means he is removing 6,000, 30,000 he is putting for the remaining 4 months. At the end of the year, total profit is 93,000. Then find the difference between profit shares of B and C. Now the point is, if you see, the point is like this question can be classified as easy if you have followed your partnership concept, right? What is partnership concept? Whatever profit you get, you divide in the ratio of capitals. First case, capital different, time period same, you divide in the ratio of capital. Capital same or investment same, time period different, then you divide in the ratio of time period. If investment, that is capital and time period, both are different, you will divide in the ratio of product of capital and time period. So this falls under third category, right? So capital for 30,000 for 4 months, then is withdrawing 6,000. So different capitals, different time periods. So you have to divide in the ratio of product of capital and time period. And one point always you should keep in mind, so not related to this question, is there any working partner or managing partner in the business? First, you have to pay his salary from the profit. The remaining profit only should be shared according to the given conditions, 3 conditions, right? So let us take A, B, C. Let us look at their profit sharing ratio. Now A has invested 30,000. I am ignoring these 3 zeros in all these cases because you writing and cancelling in ratio, it's make no sense. So ignore these 3 zeros. 30,000 for 4 months. Then after 4 months, he is withdrawing 6,000. 30 minus 6, 24,000. He is investing for the remaining period, that is 8 months. So A is in the business for complete 12 months. What about B? B 36,000. He joined after 4 months. So after 4 months, he is withdrawing 6,000. So 36,000 for 4 months plus 36,000. I am removing 6,000, withdrawing 30,000 for the remaining 4 months. First 4 months B was not there. So his investment 36,000 for 4 months. He is withdrawing 6,000, remaining 30,000 for 4 months. So after 8 months, C joined with an investment of 42,000. After 8 months means how many months left over? 4 months. Because generally profit will be calculated at the end of the year. Now let us nullify this 4 here. So 4 gets cancelled 2 times here. So 30 plus 48, it is 78. 30, 24 2s are 48, 78. 36 plus 30 is 66 is to 42. Right? 6 13s, 6 11s, 6 7s. This is the profit sharing ratio of A is to B is to C. So what is their total profit? 13 plus 11, 24, 24 plus 7, total 31 parts is equal to total profit 93,000. This is the total profit. Right? So we need to find out difference between profits of B and C. What is difference between profits of B and C? 11 and 7, difference is 4 parts. How much? Simple. 31 goes 3 times in 93. So each part value is equal to 3000. So 4 parts means 4 into 3000. We can say 12,000 should be the difference. 12,000 is present in choice 3. Right? So 31 parts, 93,000 means 31 3s are 93. So each part is 3000. So difference is 4 parts. 4 into 3, 12,000. Question number 30. It is based on your mixtures concepts, right? Mixtures and alligation concept. Vessel P contains a solution of juice and water. Vessel Q contains solution of juice, alcohol and water. The quantity of solution in vessel P is 40% more than that in vessel Q. Now if I take P and Q quantity, if Q is 100, vessel P is 140. So what is their capacity ratio? 2 5 is to 7 is to 5. So in vessel P we have 7K capacity, vessel Q we have 5K capacity. The concentration of juice and alcohol in solution Q 72% and 10% respectively. The two solutions in two vessels P and Q are mixed, resulting in the final mixture in which concentration of juice is 65%. So when you mix the contents of vessel P and vessel Q, the juice percentage is coming around 65%. The quantity of juice in the resultant mixture, we need to find out the quantity of juice, how many liters of juice is present, given that quantity of juice in P was 42 liters initially. Initially in P, we have juice of 42 liters. Now I can say this question is somewhere between moderate and difficult. Maybe if you can say difficult also, I am saying it's okay, but I am saying it is slightly tougher than, I can classify it as slightly more difficult than your moderate level of difficulty. You can place somewhere between moderate to difficult. So these kind of questions I am saying, if your concept is thorough, you can try, but if your concept, first of all, alligations and mixtures, and second, that to this much of lengthy question. So I am saying it is better exam these kind of questions if you avoid. If your time permits, you can definitely come back and solve these kind of questions, right? So if your concept is clear, time permits, you've done rest of the questions, yes, definitely you can try. Now this question is definitely falls somewhere between moderate and difficult in terms of difficulty level, but let us see what's the easy method to solve this particular question. If your concept is clear, then I am saying students, it is all application only. Main exam, yeah, difficult, I agree, but if the concept is clear, it is all only application based questions only. Now vessel P, how many liters of juice? 42. Final, after I mix vessel P and vessel Q, in the final mixture, what is the percentage of juice? 45%. How will you get juice percentage? So number of liters of juice by total capacity into 100. So number of liters of juice is P, we have 42 liters of juice, plus Q, we have 5K capacity. In that 72% is what? Your juice percentage. So juice will be 72% is 0.72, 72 by 100 into 5K by total. I am mixing P and Q, total should be 12K, percentage is into 100 is equal to 65. Now see here students, 5 13s, 5 goes 20 times. Again 4 5s, 4 goes 3 times. Now if I send this side, if you multiply 5 into 42, how much? 210 plus, how much is this? 5 into 5, 25. 25 is 100 by 4. I can say 18K, right? 18K is equal to 13 into 3, 39K. 39 minus 18 is 21K is 210. 21K is 210. From that I'll get K is equal to 10. Right? Now, in the final solution, what is the question? What is the question? Question says find the quantity of juice in the resultant mixture. Right, students? Now, if you observe here, 42 liters in P, in Q, we have 0.72 into 5K. K is 10, right? So it is 50. So obviously 100, if I do 100, 50 can be written as 100 by 2, right? So it will be 72 by 2, I'll get 36. 42 plus 36 is 78 liters. 78 liters is present in choice 4. See, we try to minimize the steps. We are getting answer in 2 to 3 steps. So if your concept is clear, you can solve like this. You got the point, right? So I'm multiplying this. 5 into 42 is 210. 5 into 5 is 25. 25 is nothing but 100 by 4. I am saying 25. So 100 into 0.72, 72 by 4. 72 by 4 is 18K, is 39K. From that I'll get K is equal to 10. So juice quantity is P, we have 42 liters. Q 0.72 into 5K. K value is 10. So 50. 50 is 100 by 2. 100 means 72 by 2, 36. 42 plus 36 is 78. It is present in choice 4. Question number 14, students. A shopkeeper sells an article at a discount of 30% and gains a profit of 100 rupees. If it is sold at a discount of 20%, he gains a profit of 200 rupees. What would be the discount percentage offered on it while selling it at a profit of 25%? We can say this is an easy question. Now discount percentage 30%, 20%. Discount percentage is always given at market price. When you're giving discount percentage, when you're reducing it by 10%, now I am having a profit here 100 rupees, I am getting 200 rupees. We are getting a profit of how much more? 100 more. We are getting profit of 100 more means we are selling for 100 rupees more rupees. That means 10 percentage, if you are reducing from MP, that is equal to you are increasing here by 100. So 10% of MP is 100. I can say market price will be 1000. You got the point? Discount is 30%. Discount is always calculated at market price. Instead of 30%, I am giving 20% discount. That means we are reducing discount by 10%. When I am reducing discount by 10%, my profit instead of 100, I am getting 200. That means my profit is increasing by 100 rupees. That means your selling price is increasing by 100 rupees. So 10% of market price is 100 rupees. Market price will be 1000. Now, he is giving a discount of 30%. Let us take the first case. Market price 100. Discount of 30% means 300 rupees. 1000 minus 300, 700. Market price minus discount is my selling price. Here I am making a profit of 100 rupees. That implies cost price is selling price minus profit. 700 minus 100, my cost price is 600. Now what is the question? What would be the discount percentage offered on it while selling if you want to make a profit of 25%? If I want to make a profit of 25%, cost price 600, profit is 25%, that is 1/4 of 600. That means I want to make a profit of 150. That means if you want to make a profit of 150, we need to sell the article at 750. So market price is 1000 rupees and you are selling the article at 750 rupees. So what's the discount percentage? MP minus SP, that is 250 by MP is 1000. I am giving a discount of 250. 1000 rupees articles we are selling at 750. 250 and 1000 into 100. Right, this is the percentage. 250 upon 1000 is 1/4. 1/4 is 25%. 25% is present in choice 4. 25% is present in choice 4. Question number 15, students. Trains A and B start simultaneously from stations P and Q respectively. Now, if you take these two stations P and Q, let's say these are two stations. Trains A and B are starting from P and Q. A is moving from P to Q and B is moving from Q to P. A travels towards Q and B travels towards P. If A takes 6 hours to reach Q, B takes 9 hours to reach P. So what is time taken by A is to time taken by B? 6 hours is to 9 hours. So what is the ratio? 2 is to 3. So what is speed of A is to speed of B? 3 is to 2. Because we know that speed and time are inversely proportional. A is traveling from P to Q, B is also moving from Q to P. The distance they are traveling is constant. When distance is constant, speed and time are inversely proportional. Now, to cover this distance, A is taking 6 hours and B is taking the same distance is covering in 9 hours. So, ratio of time taken is 2 is to 3. So, ratio of speeds of A and B is 3 is to 2. Now, in 6 hours, the distance covered by A. Okay, what is distance formula? Speed into time. Now 6 hours distance covered by A. 6 into what is speed of A? 3K. This is 120 more than the distance covered by B in the same time. minus distance covered by B in 6 hours. 6 into time is 6. Speed of B is 2k is equal to, the difference is 120, right? So 6k is equal to 120. From this we'll get k is equal to 20. K is equal to 20 means speed of A is 3k, 3 into 20 60. Speed of B is 2k, 2 into 20 40. Now what is the question, students? Find the time taken by train C to reach from Q to P at a speed of 75 kilometers per hour. Time formula is distance by speed. So it is moving at a speed of 75 kilometers per hour. We need to find out the distance. Now see, distance is easy to find out. If you take A takes how many hours to reach Q is starting from P, taking 6 hours. So distance is speed into time. A speed is 60 into 6, 360 kilometers. Or you take B. If you take B also, B speed is 40 and B is taking 9 hours to reach P from Q. 40 into 9, 360. So my distance is 360. So 15, 2 is 30, 15, 4, 60, 15, 5. 24 by 5 is 4.8 hours. 4.8 hours is present in choice 5. 4.8 hours is present in choice 5. Directions for 16 to 20. Study the following line graph and table carefully to answer the question that follows. So it's a line graph and table question. We have discussed that this is easy if you focus on line graph and table. So once you write down all these values, I am saying this is an easy set to follow. Just here, what is the information given? This is a combination of line graph and table. This combination question generally you come across in your main examination, right? So the line graph shows production of two products P and Q in 4 states: Kerala, Punjab, Delhi, Sikkim. The circle represents the production of P and the diamond shape one or rhombus shape one represents the production of Q. And the table shows percentage of products exported. So out of this production, how many are exported state-wise? Product P, how many exported? Product Q, how many exported? State-wise information is given in terms of percentage. Now, if you take Kerala, 900 is the production, P production, 900, product P. 40% exported, 10% 90, 40% is 360. Let me write down P. Let us take P for Punjab. Punjab P is 840, right? 50%, that means half of that. 420 is exported. Then Delhi is 60%. Delhi P is 600. P is the circle shape one. 60%. 10% 60. 60% 360. Then Sikkim is 30%. 800. 10% 80. 30% 240. Right? Then let us take Q. 35% Kerala. Q 1200. 35%. So 35% can be calculated as 30% plus 5%. So 10% is 120, 30% 360. 10% 120, 5% will be 60. So 360 plus 60 it is 420. Then Punjab 60%. 750, you have to be careful while picking up the values. Q I am talking about 750, 10% 75 into 6 times 420 plus 30 it is 450. Delhi it is 40%, 900, 10% 90, 40% 360. And Sikkim 700, 50% means exactly half 350. So these are total productions, and out of that each state has exported how much of P, how much of Q. We are getting these values. I am saying these values, once you write down, you need not take a table and also, right? You just write down Kerala, Punjab, Delhi, Sikkim, total values, exports of P, that is P value, key value, exports of P, exports of Q. P value, Q value you can find here. Exports of P and Q we have calculated here. So you will get something like this. Right? 360, 420, 360, 240 P, Q 420, 450, 360, 350 matching. So once I am saying you have these values, I am saying it is pretty easy and pretty simple to solve the questions. Let us take question number 16, students. What is the ratio of total number of products exported from Kerala to that exported from Delhi? Kerala total exports 360 plus 420, it is 780 is to Kerala is to total exports of Delhi. These are total exports, right? We need to add 360 plus 360, 720. Anyway, 0 will get cancelled. So 6 13s, 6 12s. So ratio is 13 is to 12. It is present in third option. Question number 17. The total number of products of P that are not exported from Punjab and Delhi is what percentage more or less than that are not exported from Kerala and Sikkim. Product P if you take Punjab and Delhi, 840, 420 exported. Punjab plus Delhi. How many not exported? The remaining 840 minus 420, 420 not exported. Similarly, you take Delhi 600, 360 are exported. How many are not exported? 240. So 660 Punjab and Delhi. Now what about other two states, Kerala and Sikkim? If you take P 900, Kerala 360, that means 540 not exported. 900 minus 360. Sikkim 800, 240 exported. 800 minus 240, 560 not exported. 540 plus 560, 40 plus 60 is 100. So 500, 500, 1000. So it should be 1100. So Punjab plus Delhi 660. This is 1100. It is what percentage? More or less. Clearly it is less. Percentage less formula, difference. So what is the difference, friends? 440, 1100 and 660 by opposite of less. Less means it will opposite of less. Larger value 1100 into 100. So 2 zeros will get cancelled. 11 goes 4 times in 44. So 40%. 40 percentage less. You have to be careful. We have both options, more and less. It is less. So 40 percentage less is present in 70, what you call in fourth option. Question number 18. The total number of products that are not exported from Punjab is more or less than from Sikkim. Total number of products not exported from Punjab. 840p, 420 exported. So Punjab not exported is 420. Then 750, 450 exported. Not exported 300. So Punjab 720 not exported. Sikkim, if you take Sikkim here, Sikkim 800, 240 exported, 560 not exported, and 700, 350 exported, so 350 not exported. So 860 plus 50, 910. So is how much more or less? 910 minus 720. So how much is this? 190 less, right? 190. If you add 80, it will be 800. So 110 plus 80, 190 less, not more. It is less, right? So 190 less is present in second option. Question number 19, students. Considering all the states together, find the average number of products of Q that are exported. So average exports of Q, simple. Average is sum of all quantities by total number of quantities, right? Add this 50, 110, 160, 180. If you add two digits, right? 7, 11, 4, 15, 80. So 15 average is equal to total exports 1580 divided by 4 states. 4 3s are 12, 38, 4 9, 36, 20, 4 5, 20. It is 395. We can also say like this. See, I assume exports to be average to be 360. Now here, if it is 360, it is how much more? 60 more. 360 average means it is 450, how much more? 90 more. Here 0, 360, 360. 350 means it is 10 less. So 150 more, 10 less. So overall 140 more. This 140 I have to divide among 4 states. 4 3s are 12. Each one will get 35 more. So 360 I am assuming as average. Each one is getting 35 extra. I can also say orally 395 is my average. Alright. Either you add and divide or orally we can say, if you know the concept. Question number 20, students. Considering all the states together, the total production of P is approximately what percentage more or less than that of Q? Add total production of P, we get 40 if you add 2 digits here. 17, 23, 8, 31, 40. Now you add these 2 digits here, 50 will get 16, 28, 35, 50. So 31, 40 and 35, 50. So obviously it is less, clearly we will say percentage less. So percentage more cannot be my answer. It has to be less. We have 3 options here. Difference. Difference is how much here? If I add 10, it will be 31, 50. So 410 is the difference. Right? So 40, 10, 410 is the difference. Opposite of this is larger value 3550 into 100. Now, see here students. 10 percentage, 41 by 35.5, 35.5, 20 percentage, you get 71. But we need only 41. So my answer is clearly less than 20%. So less than 20% means it cannot be 24%, it cannot be 36%. So the only one option left, 12%. No need to calculate. Directly from options, we can answer this question. So question number 21 to 25, select the correct alternative from the given choices. These are individual questions. These are individual questions. A certain sum is invested on compound interest at R% per annum compounded annually. The sum amounts to 21,160 in 2 years, 27,984.10 paise in 4 years. Find the simple interest on the same sum at the same rate of interest for 3 years. Again, I can say this is moderate level of difficulty or slightly more than moderate, between moderate and difficult also. Right? If you see, the point is like this is main exam, you can find questions, application based questions of these type. So you need to try to solve these questions using, if you know the concept, you try to minimize the steps and try to solve in minimum possible number of steps, try to arrive the answer. But these kind of questions first need to be solved towards the end. First you need to look at easy questions which can be solved, right? So this is a moderate level of difficulty. He is investing in 2 years, it's becoming 21,160. What's the formula for amount? P into 1 plus R by 100 whole power n or whole power t, right? Now the amount is 21,160 in 2 years, is giving at a rate of R% per annum. Let us take principal as P. 1 plus rate of interest is R by 100. 2 years means whole power 2 is equal to 21,160. That is my first equation. Then second case, in 4 years, P into principal 1 plus same rate of interest, 4 years means whole power 4 is 27984.1. This is my second equation. Second equation divided by first equation. What happens if I divide here? PP will get cancelled. 1 plus R by 100 whole power 4 by 1 plus R by 100 whole square. What is left out? 1 plus R by 100 whole square is equal to, can I write like this? 27, second equation, 9841 by 211600. I am just multiplying by 10. 0.1 means multiplying numerator and denominator by 10. Now see here students, 23 9 times 180 plus 27, 207, 46, 23 2 times, 00. 23 1s 23, 49, 23 2s 46, 38, 23 1s 23, then 154, 23 6, 138, 161, 23 7s. So we are getting 12167 by 9200. 12167, if you remember, you have to add the cubes, right, up to 25. 12167, it is 23 cube. Or you again cancel 23, you will get the clear, it is clearly 23 cube. So what will happen? 23 into 23 into 23. Again, this one can be written as 92 means 23 goes 4 times, 23 into 400. 23 will get cancelled. Now 1 plus R by 100 is equal to square root of this, right? Square root of 23 into 23 by 400. 123 come out, 420 into 20, 120 will come out. So from this, if I simplify, R is equal to 15%. You'll get rate of interest is 15%. Now what is the question? Question is not find R value. Find the simple interest on the same sum at the same rate of interest for 3 years. Now simple. Now we are getting in 2 years, it is 21,160. So I can say 2 years, what is my net rate of interest? Net rate of interest in compound interest for 2 years is given by x plus y plus xy by 100%. You can use your net change formula here. So 15% for 2 years means 15 plus 15 plus 15 into 15 by 100. So you'll get 32.25%. 32.25% is interest. So what should be my amount here? My amount should be, here I'll write here. Amount will become 132.25%. That is given as 21160. Question is, find the simple interest on the same sum at the same rate of interest. So 15% simple interest for 3 years will be 15, 15, 15. 45% how much? Right? Cross multiply and simplify. What will you get here? 45 into 21160 by, I'll add 13225 into 100, right? So 132.25 multiplying by 100. Now if you simplify this, you will get 7,200. 7,200 is present in option 2. 7,200 is present in option 2, right? Again, this can be written as 23 common factor. So you can simplify this. 25 is here. If you want, I will simplify for you. 25 5 is 125. 72, 25 to 50, 225, 25 9s. Now see here 25 4 times. 21160, you have simplified here, right? 23 into 23 into 40. So this can be written as 21160 is 529 into 40. So 529 will get cancelled. 4 into 40 is 160. 45 into 160. So 0, 16, 5 is 80, 32, 64 plus 8, 7200. 7200 is my choice 2. So more calculation intensive, calculation based question, you have to be little careful. Question number 22, students. The ratio of radius of height of a cone, radius to the height of a cone, R is to H, is 7. The volume of the cone, when its radius is increased by 20%, you have to be careful here, is 11,880 centimeter cube. If the radius of the cone is equal to radius of the sphere, find the volume of the sphere. What's the formula to find volume of the sphere? Volume of the sphere is 4 by 3 pi r cube. So obviously you should know radius, then only you can answer the question. So radius of the cone is equal to radius of the sphere. Now friends, I can say this is an easy question and doable if you know your mensuration formulas. Now you take a radius is to height is 3 is to 7. So I'll take radius is equal to 3k, height is equal to 7k. Right? Volume of the cone when the radius has increased by 20%. So what is the volume of cone formula? Volume of cone is 1/3 pi r square h is equal to 11,880. So 1 by 3 pi is how much? 22 by 7. So what should be my radius? Don't take 3k. After radius has increased by 20%, radius is increasing by 20% means my new radius should be 120% of my actual radius, right? So 120% is nothing but 6 by 5 of actual radius. So 6 by 5 into actual radius is how much? 3k into 6 by 5 r square into 3k into height. Height is how much? 7k is equal to 11,880. Now students, 11 2s 11,1080. Then 7 gets cancelled. Now 6 into 2 is 12. 12 goes 90 times. Again 3, these 3 also will get cancelled. So here students, 6 into 3 18. 18 goes 5 times. So k into k is k cube is equal to 5 into 5 into 5, 125. From this I can say k is equal to 5. If k is equal to 5, what should be my radius? 3 into 5, 15. So what should be my volume of sphere? Volume of sphere is equal to 4 by 3 pi into r cube. R cube is how much? 15 into 15 into 15, because radius of the cone is equal to radius of the sphere and answer is in pi, so I am not converting this. 3 goes how many times? 5 times. 225 into 20, 4500 pi centimeter cube. It is present in third option. Question number 22 present in third option. Question number 23, students. The ratio of Kirti's age 3 years hence to Shravya's age 3 years ago is 8:9. The ratio of Bhavana's age 2 years hence to Shravya's age 3 years hence is 9:11. If the present age of Bhavana is 4 years more than present age of Kirti, find the present age of ratio of present age of Shravya to Bhavana. Again, I classify this question as moderate. If time permits, you come back and solve. In your first round, you are not supposed to solve these kind of questions because these are time consuming and calculation based. Let us take up question number 23. The ratio of Kirti's age 3 years hence. Let us take Kirti's age as K, Shravya's age as S present age, Bhavana's present age as B. Kirti's age 3 years hence. So K plus 3 by Shravya's age 3 years ago, S minus 3. Present ages I am taking as K, S and B is equal to, this ratio is given as 8 by 9. Cross multiply. 9k plus 27 is equal to 8s minus 24. Or I can say 8s minus 9k is equal to 27 plus 24 is 51. This is my first equation. Now see, ratio of Bhavana's age 2 years hence, present B after 2 years B plus 2, to Shravya's age 3 years ago. 3 years, Shravya's age 3 years hence, sorry, S plus 3 is equal to how much? 9 by 11. So here ago, but here is Shravya's age 3 years hence, Bhavana's age 3 years hence. So cross multiply. 11b plus 22 is 2s plus 27. So I can say, okay, let us keep it as it is. Let's see, this is my second equation. Now, or I can say 11B. Okay, let's see it little later. Next, one more information. Present age of Bhavana is 4 years more than present age of Kirti. Bhavana is 4 years more than Kirti. K plus 4. This is my third equation. In place of B, I'll substitute K plus 4 here. If I substitute K plus 4 here in place of B, 11 into K, 11K plus 44 plus 22 is equal to 2S plus 27. Right? So, I can say 2S minus 11K, it's not 2S, no, 9S. It is 9S, no? So 9 into S, 9S plus 27. So it is 9S plus 27. So it is not 2S, it is 9S. 1 second. Let me correct this. So if you cross multiply 9 into S, 9S. So 9S minus 11K, 66 minus 27. So it is how much? 66 minus 27, 39. Right? Now solve these two. 9S minus 11K is equal to 39. Now what's the question? Ratio of present age of Shravya and Bhavana. So let us eliminate K or let us find out K, whatever it might be. If I eliminate Bhave, multiply, let us say this one by 9, multiply this equation by 8. So what will happen? 9 8 72S. Okay, let me write here. 9 into 8 72S minus 9 into 9 81K is equal to 459. What is the second one? 8 into 9 72S minus 88K is equal to 39 into 8. 40 into 8 is 320. So 1 8 less. So it should be 312. Now subtract. If you subtract, this will be minus 1 and this will be plus. 88 minus 81, 7K is equal to, if you subtract 312, 47. How much? 359, 147. K is equal to 21. Right? When K is equal to 21, that is Kirti's age is 21. What is Bhavana's age? Here, Bhavana's age is K plus 4, 21 plus 4, 25. Bhavana's age is 25. Okay. We need to find out Shravya's age. Substitute here. Bhavana's age is how much? 25. So you can substitute here, or you can also substitute here. You know Kirti's age, right? You can substitute here. K value you can substitute, or B value you can. Anything is okay, right? So 9S minus 11K. 9S minus K value we know. 11 into 21. 220 plus 11, 231. So if I send 231 that side, 240, 270. So S value is how much? 30. You can substitute here, 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 anywhere. So Shravya's age is 30. So ratio of Shravya is to Bhavana. So it is 30 is to 25. 5 6 are, 5 5 are. So ratio is 6 is to 5. 6 is to 5 is present in second option. Right? Question number 24. Now I can say this is an easy question. Doable question. Very easy question. Right? Question number 24. Sum of 4 times of A and A minus 450 is 550. 4A plus A minus 550, A minus 450 1 second. Right. Sum of 4 times of A plus A minus 450 is equal to 550. So I can say 5A is equal to 550 plus 450 is 1000. A is equal to 200. 200 is present in choice 4. 25. What's the difference between 24% of A and 24% of A plus 2500? If you observe closely, the difference would be 24% of 2500. Right? So how much is 20%? 500. How much is 4%? 100. 500 plus 100, 600. Or 24% means 24 by 100 into 2500. Zeros will get cancelled. 24 into 25. You can say this is 24 into 25 can be written as 100 by 4. So it is 600. Or 25 square is 625. 25 into 25. I want only 24 25. Remove 125, 600. Anyways, you can do calculation, right? So the difference, if you observe 24% of A. So what is this? It is 24% of A plus 24% of 2500. So obviously this is common. So the difference should be 24% of 2500. You calculate 20% plus 4%, or 24% is 24 into 25. You multiply 25 is 100 by 4 and simplify, or 25 square is 625, 25 into 25. I want only 24 25s, remove 1 25. So choice 2 is your answer. Directions for question number 26 to 31. Study the following pie chart and table carefully to answer this question. So it is a combination of pie chart and table, students. The pie chart shows the total number of drivers in 5 cities A, B, C, D, E. Total number of drivers 8,000. He has given distribution of A, B, C, D, E. Now what do you mean by A is 0.18? 0.18 is nothing but 18%, right? How much is 18%? 18 by 100 is nothing but 0.18. So 0.21, 0.21 is nothing but 21%. 0.18 is nothing but 18%. You have to understand this. 0.2 is nothing but 20%. 20.8 is 0.2. 0.25 is nothing but 25%, right? And 0.16 is nothing but 16%. And this table shows the number of car drivers to bus drivers in the respective cities. A, B, C, D, E. We also have a ratio of car drivers and bus drivers. Again, students, I am saying this is an easy set. Only thing is that you need to put this in the form of, in your rough sheet, you have to write down these values. Once you write down these values, this would become very easy. 20% is easy to calculate, 1600. C. 25% is 1/4. 1/4 of 8,000 is 2,000. E value. This is 21%. 20% 1600. What is 1%? 1% you have to put a point after 2 is 80. So 1600 plus 80, it is 1680. Then students, look at this 18%. How will you get 18%? 20% minus 2%. 2% you have to remove. 20% is 1600. 2% means just put a point. 2% is 160. Or 1% 80, 2% 160. So remove 160, it is 1440. Right? That's 18%. 1440. This is also easy. 16%, 10% 800, 5% 400, 1200 plus 1% 80, 1280. 16% I am taking as 10 plus 5 plus 1. 10% we know 8,000, it is 800, 5% is half 1200, and 1% is 80. So it should be 1280. That is what I have written here. Now, in city A, we have the ratio 5:4, car drivers is to bus drivers. So this total, if you add 9 parts, is 1440. 9 16s, 144. So each part 160. 160 into 5, 800. 160 into 4, 640. 800 plus 640, 1440. It is matching. You can also do like this. 5:4, car drivers is 5 by 9 into 1440. 9 ones, 9 16 times 160 into 5. Cab drivers will be so it is 800. So 1440 minus 800, or you can write 4 by 9. So I'm saying instead of doing all those, this total ratio, car drivers, bus drivers, if you add, it must be equal to total of A. 9 parts 144 means 1440 means each part will be 160. 5 parts is 5 into 160, 800. 4 into 160, 640. See here, 7 parts, 4:3. 7 parts, 1680. So each part is how much? 240. 240 into 4, it is 960. 240 into 3, it is 720. Add these two, 1680, it is matching. Then 5:3, 8 parts, 1600. 8 goes 2 times here. So 200 is each part. So this is 600. 500 into 2, this is 1000. 7:9, 16 parts. It is 1280. 16 eights. If you remember 16 table, 16 eights is 1280. Each part is 80. So 7 into 80 is 560. 9 into 80 is 720. Then 11:4, 25. So 25 parts means each part is 80. So 11 into 8 is 880. 14 into 8 is 1120. If you add this, 1200 plus 8, 2000, right? So these values I am putting here. 1440, 1680, 1600, 1280, 2000. Let us take car drivers. 800, 960, 600, 560, 880, 640, 720, 1000, 720, 1120. Right. So if you can write these values in your rough sheet, I am saying you can solve the questions just like that, right? Question number 26, students. Difference between average number of car drivers and that of bus drivers in A, C, E together. Now if you take A, C, E, difference between average number of car drivers and bus drivers. If you see here, 800, 640, car drivers is 160 more in A. C, if you see here, bus drivers are 400 more. And E, 880, 1120. So it is how much? 120 plus 120, 240 more. So if you remove 160 here, it will be still 80 more. So total difference is 480, bus drivers and car drivers. Bus drivers are 480 more. I want average divided by 3 because A, C, E. So 3 means it is 160 160 is present in third option. You add 800 plus 600, 1400 plus 880 divided by 3, 640, 1000, 1120 divided by 3, then subtract, you are going to get same thing. I am saying first, instead of finding out, anyways you have to find out average, right? So instead of finding out average 2 times, just let's look at the difference. When you look at A, car drivers are 160 more, but when you look at C and E, bus drivers are 400 and 240 more, 640 more. So it is 160 more. If I remove here, 80 more. So 480 more. So difference between bus drivers and car drivers is 480. Average means by 3, it should be 160. Question number 27. What's the central angle representing number of bus drivers in B and D together? Now if you see here, the number of bus drivers in B and D, 720 and 720, 1440, out of total, we know the total is 8000 into, we want degrees. Degrees is, you have to multiply by 360, right? So 0, 0 anyways will get cancelled. 16 9s, 144, 16 5s, 80, so it is 50. So again if you see here, 5 7s, 35, 5 2s. So 63, 9 into 7 plus 1.8, 64.8 degrees, it is your third option. Question number 28, students. Ratio of total number of car drivers in C and D to that of bus drivers in the same cities. CD car drivers is 1160 is to bus drivers in the same city. So 1720. Right? So what's the ratio, students, here? 4 2s 8, 36, 4 9s, 4 4s are 16, 4 3s 29 is to 43. It is present in fourth option. Question number 29. The total number of bus drivers in A and E is what approximate percentage more than car drivers in B and D? Bus drivers in A and E, 640 and 1120. So A and E bus drivers are 1760. So what percentage more than car drivers in B and D? B 960, D 560. So B plus D, it is 1520. So clearly it is percentage more. Percentage more, 1760, 1520. Difference is 240. By opposite of more is smaller value. Smaller value is 1520 into 100. Now, here students, it is saying approximately. Approximately is 24. 152 will take it as 150 into 100. What will happen if you take it as 150 into 100? 25 4s, 25 6. 6 goes 4 times. So my answer should be approximately close to 16%. Close to 16%, which option is there? 15.8. Don't take pain by taking 152. Approximately, and options are quite far away. So you will take it as 150. So 16%. So it should be close to 16%. I can say 15.8 is my answer. Question number 30. In city C, the age of 60% of car drivers and 40% of bus drivers is less than or equal to 30 years. Okay, then find the total number of drivers in city C whose age is greater than 30 years. Right? Now, if you take city C, 60% of the car drivers, if you take 60% of car drivers less than or equal to 30 years. So more than or equal, more than 30 years, it will be 40%. 40% will be 60 into 4, 240. Then here in city C, 40% of bus drivers are less than or equal to 30%. So more than 30 years, it will be 60%. 60% will be 600. So what's the total number? 840. 840 will be your choice 4. Question number 31. In city F, if the number of bus drivers is 50% more than that in city B, and number of car drivers is 40% less than city B, find the total number of drivers in city F. City F, we don't have information, but let us write down the given information here. In city F, number of bus drivers is 50% more than city B. City B is 720. So 50% more than city B. 720, 50% means half of this more. So 1080 bus drivers. And what about car drivers? 40% less than that in city B. So 40% less than city B. So 40% less than city B means it will be 60% of this. So 96 is my 10% into 60% means 6 times. 540 plus 36, 576. Right? So what is the question here? Total number. If you add this, 70 plus 76 plus 80 is 156. So 1656. 1656 is present in first option. Right? You got the point, right? It is bus drivers 50% more means 720, 50 means half of that more, so 1080. And car drivers 40% less than CTB. 40% less means it is 60% of this, right? So for total should be 100. 40% less means it should be 60%. 10% 96. 60% is into 6 times. So add these two, 1656 present in first option. Directions for question number 32 and 33. Select the correct alternative from the given choices. Now, this is an independent, what you call individual quant question. So I can classify this question as easy question. Ravi sold an article at a profit of 9%. Cost price is 600. Cost price is 600. Profit is 9%. 9% means profit is 54. So what is my selling price? 600 plus 54. Cost price plus profit. It is 654. Now, discount of 4 by 7% is given in the article. What's the market price of the article? So, discount is 4 by 7 percentage. Discount is always calculated on market price. If a discount of 4 by 7 percentage is given, so my selling price should be 93 3 by 7% of market price. Now, here I'll give a small example. Market price is 100. I'm giving a discount of 20%. So discount of 20% means 20 rupees, 100 minus 20, 80 is my selling price. So giving a discount of 20% is nothing but I will say my selling price is 80% of market price. So 80% of market price is 100, 80% of 100 is 80. This is the second way of looking at this particular statement. So discount of 20% means total should be always 100%. I'm reducing 20% means I'm selling at remaining 80% of the price. If I say if I'm giving a discount of 30% means I'm selling at remaining 70% of market price. If I say I'm giving a discount of 40% means I'm selling at 60% of market price. Now if you observe here, he's giving a discount of 4 by 7%. So 100 minus 4 by 7 is he's selling at 93 3 by 7% of market price. How much is this? 90 into 7, 630, 651, 654 by 7% means 700 into MP is equal to my selling price. What is my selling price? 654. So from this I can say market price is equal to 700. If you know the concept, you can answer this question very simply instead of framing the equation, right? So directly in 2-3 steps you will get the answer. 700 present in choice 1. Question number 33. What is the selling price of a chair after giving 2 successive discounts of 15% and 20% on market price? 1000 rupees. But discount 1 is 15%. 15% is nothing but 150 rupees. So 850. Again on this, I am giving a discount 2 of 20%. So 10% 85, 20% 170. So if I remove 170, it is 680. 680 is present in choice 4. This question you can classify as easy, or I can also say very easy question. Now, net when I am giving 2 successive discounts of X% and Y% is equal to a single discount of, we might have discussed this in your profit and loss, X plus Y minus XY by 100%, right? So 15%, 20% minus 15 into 20 by 100. 20 goes 5 times, 5 goes 3 times. 35 minus 3, it is equal to single discount of 32%. So I am giving a discount of 32% means I am selling at, selling price should be 68% of market price. So it should be 68% of 1000. 68% of 1000 is nothing but 680. So this is success. It is what you call successive percentage formula, but we'll use minus sign here, right? Because discount 1, discount 2. So X plus Y minus net discount is given by XY by 100. I am giving a discount of 32% means I am selling it. I told you, right? So 100 minus 32, we are selling at 68% of market price. 68% of 1000 should be 680. You can also solve like this. 1000 rupees. This is one more way of solving this, right? So I am giving a discount of 15% means I am selling at 85% of market price. Again on this successive discount means discount on discount. Again on this he is giving a discount of 20%. So he is selling at 80% of the price. So 2 zeros, 2 zeros, 0, 0, 0, 0. So what is left out? 85 into 8. So 640 plus 40, it is 680. So anyways you can solve. This is a regular approach. You can use the formula, or you can also use a successive discount. You can also write it in this way, right? Question number 34 and 35 directions. Study the following information carefully and answer the questions that follow. Now, this actually is based on probability. We have 2 questions, 34 and 35, based on probability. It's generally we call it as case rate. Caselet questions with some common data. Instead of giving two separate questions, is giving a common data. If you crack this common data, then you can solve the questions easily. So when we are discussing that questions, we will see whether the question is easy or moderate. Let us look at this data first. There are 3 bags A, B, C. Each bag there are only green balls and pink balls, right? So A, B, C, we have only pink balls and green balls in that, right? Number of pink balls in A, B, C are 20, 15 and 25. The average number of green balls is 24. So average green balls is 24 means total green balls should be 72. 24, I have 3 bags, so average is 24 means 24 into 3 bags, 24 into 3, it should have 72. The probability of selecting one pink ball from each bag is same. Now, let us say how many green balls we have, we don't know. GA is green balls in bag A, GB is green balls in bag B, GC is green balls in bag C. So, the probability of selecting one pink ball from each bag is same. So, what is the probability of selecting pink ball from A? 20C1, that is 20 by 20 plus total balls are GA. This is same as selecting one pink ball here, 15C1, but total probability is 15 plus total balls is GB is equal to 25 by 25 plus GC. You can also take XYZ. I am taking, instead of taking XYZ, I am saying GA, GB, GC. Green balls in A bag, green balls in B bag, green balls in C bag. So what is the probability of selecting one pink ball from A? 20C1, but total is 20 plus GA C1. So 20C1 is 20, but 20 plus GA. Probability of selecting one pink ball from each bag is same. Now let us equate these two. What will happen? 20 by 20 plus GA is equal to 15 by 15 plus GB. 5 3s, 5 4s. From this, what can we say? 60 plus 4 GB is equal to 60 plus 3 GA. 60, 60 will get cancelled. Green balls in A is to green balls in B, I can say is 4 is to 3. 4 GB is 3 GA, GA by GB is 4 is to 3. Similarly, equate these two. What will happen if we equate these two? 5 5s, 5 3s. So 75 plus 3 green balls in C is 75 plus 5 green balls in B, right? So green balls in B is to green balls in C, the ratio is 3 is to 5. GB is to GC is 3 is to 5. Now common term is equal GB, it is 3. So I can write green balls in A is to green balls in B is to green balls in C. The ratio is 4 is to 3 is to 5. We know the total green balls are how many? 72. So 7 plus 5, 12 part 72 means each part is 6. So we can say it is 24 here. Green balls in B, we can say is 18 here. Green balls in C is 30. Add this 42 plus 30, we are getting 72. We got all blue balls and pink balls and green balls values here. Let us take up questions. Now if two balls are selected randomly from A, what is the probability that two balls are of different colors? Two balls are of different colors. Now if you see here, two balls are selected from A. What is A total? Pink 20 balls, green 24 balls. If you take A here, A, we have pink balls 20 and green balls 24. So what are my total balls here? Total balls are 44. If I am selecting two balls at random, so total probability is 44 C2. These two should be of different color. So one I should select from pink, other I should select from green. So selecting one pink ball is 20 C1 into selecting one green ball will be 24 C1. Now if you simplify this, so I have to write down and simplify this, you will get 240 by 473. It is present in first option. Again friends, I am saying as calculation is involved, I can say it is moderate. If you are good at calculation, I can say between easy and moderate, but I can classify it as moderate level of difficulty. Question number 35. By what percentage is total number of balls in B is less than that in A? We know total balls in A, already we have seen 44, right? Total balls in A 20 plus 24, 44. B 15 plus 18. B total balls are 33. So it is what percentage less than that of A? This is percentage less question, easy question. Percentage less is difference 11. By opposite of what you call less is larger value 44 into 100. 11 upon 44 is 1 by 4. 1 by 4 is nothing but 25%. 25% is present in choice 4. Question number 36 to 40. Study the following information carefully and answer the questions that follow. Now, this is students is caselet. Caselet generally we suggest students to attempt towards the end. If time permits, time is there, you attempted rest of the things, then only you attempt caselet. But if you compare, this caselet is easier, even though it is a main exam. If you have come across this kind of caselet during your practice session, I am saying this kind of caselets can be attempted in the exam, but not at the beginning, towards the end. If you have time, definitely you can try this, because I can say this as easy. It is not as difficult. Generally, you will get difficult Venn diagram and more data in your main exam, but compared to that, this caselet is very easy. Just look at the given information. From railway station PQR, there are 5 trains A, B, C, D, E travel every day. Number of passengers boarding and alighting. Alighting means getting down from the trains at the station on a Sunday are given as below. Total number of passengers in all the trains is 3000. Ratio of passengers who are boarding to or alighting is 3:2. Okay, I'll take a blank slide here. We have 5 stations A, B, C, D, E. Let me take total. This you need to do in your rough sheet here. So number of passengers boarding and number of passengers alighting. Alright, and let us take one more total here. Alright, so caselet is generally time consuming, so avoid this. But I am saying, if you look at this particular thing, I am saying this is relatively easier. Okay. Let me draw neatly once again. So we have A, we have B, we have C, we have D. Anyways, your table we can write it. Initially, what you need to do is that's you need to put it here values. Okay. Total number of passengers we have 3000, and boarding is to alighting, the ratio is 3:2. So 5 parts is 3000. So each part is 600. So it is 1800, and this should be 1200 total, right? So boarding should be 3. One second. Boarding should be 3 by 5 into 3000. 5 goes 6 times in that is 600 into 3, 1800. 3000 minus 1800 is 1200. Or we can see here 3:2 means total 5 parts. So divide 3000 by 5 means each part is 600. So 3 parts means 1800. 2 into 600 means 1200. Out of total passengers who are boarding of all the trains, the number of passengers who are boarding at B and D is 16 by 3% and 20%. 16 by 3% is 1/6. So 1/6 are boarding at B. 1/6 of out of total boarding 1800, 1/6 are B. 1/6 of 1800 is 300, and 20% are from D. So D 20% means 360. Right? Out of total passengers who are alighting from all the trains, number of passengers who are alighting from D and E is 16 by 3% and 13 1/3%. 16 2 by 3% is 1/6 are alighting from D. 1/6 of 1200, it is 200 alighting from D. And from E, 13 1/3%. 39 plus 1, 40 by 300. 40 by 300. Right? 13 1/3%. 39 plus 1, 40 by percentage means 300 into 1200. 300 goes 4 times, so 160. So these 160 are alighting from E. So getting down from E. Now the number of passengers who are boarding E. One more thing, the total number of passengers of D is equal to E. Just here, total number of passengers is 560. D and E are equal, so this should be 560. If this is 560 total, alighting 160, 560 minus 160, how many are boarding here? 400. Now the number of passengers who are boarding E is equal to number of passengers who are alighting from C. Boarding at E is equal to alighting at C. This is 400, this has to be 400. Then the total number of passengers of A and B are 520 and 540 respectively. A 520, B 540. 520 and 540 respectively. The total number of passengers of a train is number of passengers who are boarding plus number of passengers who are alighting. Right. If this is 540, I can say this is 240. 540 minus 300, it is 240. Then this is total 1200 students. Just say 240 plus 160, 400, 800, 1000. So this should be 200, 1200 minus 1000. If this is 200, 520 minus 200, boarding of A should be 320. Now I can also put this value, right? 760, 780, 1080, 1380. 1380 if I remove, this should be 420. 420 plus 400, it is 820. Now add this, my final checkpoint 60, 80, 140, 200, 12, 20, 25, 30. It must be equal to my total number of passengers, 3000. Once you have this table, you can answer these questions easily. Only thing is that this is not difficult when you compare to other cases, right? So once if you follow the order, you can put all these values easily, right? So here 320, 300, I'm taking boarding values 420, 360, right? 400, 1800, 200, 240, okay, 400, 200, 160, 520, 540, 820, 560, 560, right? Now let us take up questions. Question number 36. Total number of passengers of train C. See, questions in case it will be easy. 820. 820 is present in choice 5. Question number 37. Find the average number of passengers who are boarding in B, C, D. Boarding in B, C, D. 300, 420, 360. Let us see. I will not use my average formula. If you want to use average formula, it will be 300 plus 420 plus 360 divided by 3. Right? I am saying, let us take average as 360. So it is 60 more, it is 60 less. So this 60 will distribute here. So average will be 360. 360 is present in third option. Or you add this 700, 1000, 1080 by 3. 360. Instead of that, it is 60 more, 60 less. If I take average as 360, it is 0 here. 60 more, it is 60 less. 60 more, 60 less will balance. So my total average should be 360. 38. Ratio of number of passengers who are alighting from A to that of D. How many are alighting from A? 200. How many are alighting from D? 200. So ratio should be 1:1 present in first option. Question number 39. Number of passengers who are boarding in E. Number of passengers boarding in E is 400. Is what percentage more than that boarding in A? Who are boarding E, okay, is what percentage more than that boarding in A? Sorry, boarding in A is 320. So 400 is what percentage more than 320? Percentage more. You can ignore 0 here. 40 and 32. Difference 8. Opposite of more is smaller value 32 into 100. 8 upon 32 is 1 upon 4. 1 upon 4 should be 25%. 25% is present in fourth option. Question number 40. Find the ratio of number of passengers who are boarding B to that of who are alighting from D. Boarding B is 300 is to alighting from D. Alighting from D is 200. So the ratio is 3:2. 3:2 is present in choice 2. Now this completes our discussion, students. So as I told you, 50% of the questions when you are doing this, particularly if you look at this case rate, once you write down these values, all the questions are easy. Similarly, you take pie chart table or line table, questions are easy once you write down those values. If you whatever percentage those given there, if you convert and write down the values, the questions are easy. Yes, agreed that missing table is time consuming, so it has to be slightly pushed. Your first option while solving DI should be line and table or pie and table. If you are good at pie table, start with pie table, then do line table. Then if luckily caselet is also easy in this particular paper, right? So this completes our discussion. As I told you, easy questions also, if you count maybe in your DI or data comparison or in individual questions, more than almost half of the questions, about 22 to 25 questions out of 40 are easy. So I am saying you cannot afford to miss these questions. So minimum number of attempts at any given class should be 25 by spending a decent amount of 35 minutes of time. You can easily solve 25 questions, right? So whole idea is identifying easy questions and solving them. Hope you are understanding the strategy and the approach in solving the question, students. Again, we will meet with the next part discussion. Until then, thank you so much and take very good care of yourselves. Stay home, stay safe and prepare with time classes. Thank you, students.